Hey guys, John Scarborough and Savannah Scarborough back. Our video just cut off. We're actually on a different camera now altogether. Hopefully it won't cut off. We may still cut it up into a couple different sections just to keep the video from dragging out too long and make it maybe a little bit easier to watch. We were right in the middle of where we were in the middle of
How I make a living.
how we make a living, and I think we were talking about cattle. And basically the gist is that it's just so much simpler to work cows, even when you get them up in a tight spot where normally they would be stressed out. It's so much easier to work them when you're there with them every day. You're moving them every day. They depend on you. They know who you are. They One thing that I've noticed working them actually is, now I get off my four-wheeler and I get out of my truck and I walk around with them. So they're used to me being around them. But also they see my four-wheeler quite often. And in our working pens, we found that if they're going toward cattle, it's always better. They always move better when they think they're moving towards cows, okay? Because it's something that they know, something they're familiar with, and something they trust. What I have found in our particular pens, the way it's set up, it does not move towards cows. There's no getting around that. So if we work anyone else's cows in there, it is a train wreck, okay? It is just awful because the cows are just stressed out, all right? But I have found that I can take my four-wheeler and park it right in front of where they're going to be moving toward, because they're so used to seeing my four-wheeler. And actually I'll park my four-wheeler in front of the gate where they're getting ready to move to it. So they know when my four-wheeler's there, that means that's where they head towards. So that's where they go. And I actually found that makes them more comfortable. That makes them more used to flowing through there. So we worked the cows the other day, long story short, and they just worked so smooth, so easy. And I can actually say it was the first time for me, and I feel like it probably was for her, the first time that we really worked all the cows and all the calves, and it was just so easy. I mean, we even banded the bull calves, and usually that's a train wreck, but nothing, no stress, nothing. We didn't get, they just weren't stressed out at all. They trusted who we were, and cows are always going to be a little bit uncomfortable when you run them through a tight spot. But really, I mean, I was very surprised. It was the first time that I could actually say that I truly enjoyed the entire experience. And just we actually enjoyed being together while working cows, and that's saying something. You can ask her. I mean, we enjoyed being around each other while working the cattle, and that's really saying something. To me, that's huge. And we were working with very low quality equipment, very poor equipment, not stuff that we don't really even have to spend a lot of money on. So I mean, you can say what you want, but that's valuable to me. The low stress is more valuable than almost anything as far as being able to make a living. The lower you can make the stress, okay? So I think, really, we both kind of do the cows. For the most part, I take care of most of it. I try to watch them, know what they're getting into. I might enjoy some of the stuff more than her, so that's just kind of what it is. It's kind of like the microgreens. She enjoys that more than I do. So we try to let her do that, because our goal, or at least for me, is to have it to where she's doing what she likes to do, I'm doing what I like to do, and then we have the money to hire out the things that we don't enjoy doing. And to me, that just makes things go a lot smoother and a lot better. And we're still gravitating towards getting more and more of that, as we go. So usually I do most of the stuff with the cows, not even a lot of work. We have been trying to get into more of a mob grazing style system with them. We don't use that all the time. It's kind of hard to do that and do other things to make a living. So we don't do that all the time. We're not nearly as aggressive as some people. But we do that, and usually it's me that does that, or sometimes it's both of us. It doesn't really take very long to do that. And then the other thing that I do is I make custom fire pits. If you look back in some of my videos, you can see some of the custom fire pits that I do. And if y'all are interested, I can show more stuff about the fire pits. So I do that, and I have to travel a little bit for that, because you got to go to the shows and stuff. And that's pretty much just on the weekends that you do the custom fire pit. I mean that you do the shows. So it's not like I'm gone a week at a time. So when I am gone, I'm actually enjoying my time away. And sometimes we can even go together, and it's more of a vacation, and it is work, but it's feels more like a vacation. So I really enjoy doing that. I enjoy the time that I get to be home, and of course I make all the fire pits I make here at home, out of my shop. And I'll do a lot of custom work. It's a lot of my own art is what I do with that. I kind of got into it. I used to do a lot of leather. Well, I still do a lot of leather work, but I grew up. I really liked doing leather work, and I drew all of my own stuff and kind of got into that a little bit. Well, then I started making a living welding. Started out on drilling rigs, and then moved up into pipeline, and then I did some work on gas plant, and got into some really strict welding codes and things like that. Got into a lot of fabrication. Really loved every bit of it. To be real honest, I do miss it sometimes, but I do not miss the having to be away. So now I really enjoy what we do here. So that I kind of combine the leather, the artistic side of the leather, and then the metal work together, and kind of come up with something different on that, and started making the fire pits. We're still trying to grow that. It's not huge. I don't necessarily want it to be a full-time business, but we're trying to gravitate towards maybe being a little bit more of it. And then also, because I own a shop and I've done a lot of fab work and everything, word of mouth kind of gets around that you're a welder, you're a fabricator, you know what you're doing, and you've got a shop that you can do it all in, and all like that. So I do a fair amount of fabrication in my shop. We're actually just fixing to move from this house, and we're building a house right near here, and we're building a house and a shop. We might talk more about that in another video, but when I get over there, we're going to start advertising and do a little bit more fab work, hopefully, than we have been. So really, that's what I do. I do fabrication from the shop. I do artistic fire pits from the shop, and then sometimes other artistic things in that. And then I do cattle. I smell. I sell a very small amount of leather work here and there. It's all hobby. I make what I want to make, and then if someone's interested in it, they can buy it. I don't do orders or anything like that, and it really doesn't make any kind of substantial money. As far as that's all I actually do for a living here currently.
All he does.
Yeah,
All
that's
he
all I
does.
do.
I do microgreens.
Yeah,
He does everything else.
that's all I do. I just don't do enough. So I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna try to stop.
And all the videos.
Yeah, try to. So I'm gonna try to stop being as lazy as I have been, and try to do a little bit more. What's our next subject?
Goals.
Goals.
Long term.
Okay, maybe you should touch on this one since I do all the videos. Maybe you should talk about what the goals are.
Um, Basically, I think our long term goal is to be at home, be able to work at home, and travel when we want, but just to be
Have time to travel.
Have the time to travel, yes, but to be happy at home, just making money at home like we want, and I can't say it as well as he can, but because we really like being at home and focusing on things that we can improve, on the farm, and ways that we can be better. So that's really our goal, is to be able to do that at home and to be our own boss, basically.
Yeah, I think I could say amen to that, and let that be done. But really, I think for myself, I can agree with most of that. And I think the main thing I would do is just kind of maybe profound a little bit, if that's the right word for it. I like the idea of being able to travel, have the freedom to travel when I want to, and be my own boss. But I also, what I my goal is to make a living in such a way where I don't feel like I need a vacation. Where when I go on a vacation, it's because I wanted to go on a vacation. It's not because I've got to get away from my job. It's just a drag, or even my business. I've been running a business for most of my adult life, to be honest. After I got into welding, I've been, I worked for a short time for other people, and then there were, a few times here and there, off and on, I would work for some fab shops during my slow times, but even that was just a few months at a time. So for the most part, I've run my own business 90% of the time. So for me, it's about enjoying what I do so much that I do not feel like at all I need a vacation. When I go on a vacation, it's because I wanted to see this place, or I really, I wanted to go here. And it's getting more and more, of course you're always going to want to get away, but it's getting more and more, for me anyway, and it's not quite there yet, but it's getting more and more to where when we do go on a vacation, I'm not like stressed out thinking about home, but I'm sitting there thinking about, oh yeah, I'm kind of excited about this next thing I'm going to do, or this next thing that we're going to get into, or something like that. I'm excited about doing that. So I'm having to mentally tell myself, all right, stop enjoying that, John. Just stop thinking about that. Let's enjoy the vacation. And it's no longer, oh my gosh, I'm so stressed out about having to go home and go back to work. It's no more any of that. And we do plan on making that better.
Because, and I can say, because that's when I was teaching, that's how it was.
Yeah.
Come Sunday, I'd be like, what am I going to do this week? What are my lesson plans? I don't have lesson plans.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I sucked as a teacher. And because I was like, oh, I got to get up in the morning. I got to go drive to work, and I got to do this, and I got to do that. And and then if we left, like, there was always that, like, on vacation, well, I've got to make sure I have my lesson plans for the next week.
And
or
she would
I've
have
got
to
plan this and plan that and take my computer with me. And so now I don't have to, I may have to think about, oh, who's going to go deliver my microgreens or who's going to go plant. But
that's about it. And she would actually I remember this, she would actually have to, during the vacation, stop and make time to do that. And when you're on vacation, that is the worst thing. Not because it's even that hard. I mean, it's not like you couldn't sit in a hotel and enjoy it. It's just the mental having to go back in your mind to your work, and take care of your work, and instead of just relaxing and enjoying the vacation.
And if you're a teacher and you're watching this, it was because I was brand new and I had no lesson plans. Once you're teaching for a little while, yeah, you have everything. And I was trying to get there, but I quit before I got to that point. So
Yeah.
I was still trying to make lesson plans and get my stuff together. I hadn't done it yet.
Well, I went up to her ag class just in her defense, and I really thought she did very well, considering everything else that was going on. So I really think she did very well. And that's just my own opinion.
I loved ag.
Yeah.
I love the subject. It was
Yeah.
just not my cup of tea.
So then moving on from goals, of course there's getting to travel when you want and loving what you do. And here's something else, just to touch on this quick. I've heard so many people say, do what you love. Do what you love for a living. And I don't believe in that, okay? I love leather work. And for years, I thought to myself, I'm going to do leather work for a living. That's what I'm going to do. And it never worked, okay? So I still do leather work. And I do actually sell some here and there, and, a lot of times I'll do a trade for someone, and I do a lot of gifts for people. And I love that, now I actually have time to do that, But the thing is I love what I do, okay? It's not necessarily about doing the one thing in life that you love. I love changing things. I love things being different and having a new challenge, okay? So don't just do what you love. Love what you do. Love what you do for a living. And even if you do what you love, that doesn't mean you're going to love every single aspect of what you do. I was doing leather work when I was 12 years old, and I remember I started out, I used a screwdriver to punch the holes to the leather, and then I'd take shoestring and make thread for it. It was very crude and very ugly when I first started. But the point is, I'm making a point about this. I remember taking the screwdriver and actually shoved the screwdriver through my finger. Now, I'm going to explain to you that there was no part of that that was love. I did not love what I did at that moment. I didn't love that particular aspect. The point is, and that's probably a little bit of a very abrupt example, but the point is you're not going to love every single thing that you do for a living. Even now, there are some parts of our living that I don't just absolutely love. But overall, I love what we do for a living. All the different kinds of things that we do. And I feel like it's getting more and more to where we both are feeling that way. So for me, that's just kind of the goal. I mean, we love what we do, and we're trying to make a living doing the things that we enjoy doing. And part of that is being at home, and contrary to popular belief, it is actually being together. We enjoy being together, or at least I enjoy being around her. Now, I mean, I can be hard to be around, you know. I think it's just my rough exterior. No, no, but seriously, you get the picture. I mean, we're trying to gravitate toward loving what we do, not necessarily doing what we love. Okay. So what are some actual goals for you? Like, what are some more goals other than just microgreens, or do you want to just stay in microgreens and just expand on that business?
I think so.
You think so? That's all she did. See, there was a time, I remember a time when she was telling me about wanting to have a nice big greenhouse and sell from this
No.
greenhouse. And
No. Goal is to have a greenhouse, but maybe not, because you don't have to do microgreens in a greenhouse. Summertime it would help like right now it would definitely help. But if you have set up right for microgreens, you don't need a greenhouse. And so yeah, that would be pretty awesome because there's all kinds of things I could do with the greenhouse. But basically, there's so many things I can do with microgreens and like things I haven't done, and expansions that I have not made yet that I want to do that. And then maybe once I do all that and I get as far as I can, then maybe, you know, I have to see then. I mean, yeah. I don't know.
Move forward.
From there. I don't know what else I would want to do after that. If we have kids, then I'll just stay home. I don't know.
Well, and that's nice too. You know, the thought that we both are making a living from home, and that when we have children, you know, if we decide to have children, that we can enjoy being around our children and raising our children in an environment that we enjoy being around. You know. And that we can spend as much time as possible with them. You know, I grew up in a big family, and I rarely saw my dad. He worked nights, and sometimes he worked days and nights. I mean, he worked really, really hard, and even though he didn't have to travel for a living, I rarely saw him ever. In fact, I didn't even know my dad until I was an adult. You know, so I really like the idea of having the ability for my children to know me on a personal level, know who I am, and my wife too, you know, like get to know both of us, and not have to feel like, you know, not have to feel like, because I remember when I saw my dad, it was like, I don't even know who this guy is, you know, and then if he got upset at me for something I did wrong or something, then it was just like, you know, I don't even know him on a personal level, you know, so I feel good about that, about the idea that we can enjoy that, having, you know, raising our children together, and not just me going off to work and her raising the children, or vice versa. You know, it's either way, or sending our children off somewhere else and letting someone else raise them, which is actually done. I mean, people do that, you know. Nothing wrong with that. That's just, sometimes that's the predicament you're put in when you're trying to make a living for your family. And as far as more goals, I think another goal, I've touched on it a little bit in the channel. I would love to get into some sheep and see, you know, I think sheep and cattle would go quite well together. I've done a lot of research on sheep and cattle together, and I've actually learned quite a bit. I have a brother that does it. a little bit. You know, it's kind of more of a hobby level at the moment, but he's thinking about trying to expand it more himself. So that's one thing I'd like to do is expand get an actual flock of sheep to go along with the cattle, see how well that goes. We would like to start selling beef and lamb direct market if possible to people. So if anyone's interested in that, we're actually currently just getting started in that. At the moment, we're just wholesale. So the way that would work is you would buy either the whole cow or the half cow, and you would decide where you want it butchered. We would deliver it to the butcher, and then you buy it as a live cow, and then you take care of it from there. But we're delivering all of it, and you never have to touch your hands on it. So if you are interested in that, you can actually contact us below.
But that's in our area. If you
Yeah,
live in
that's in
Canada,
our area.
We're
Yes.
not delivering to Canada.
Exactly. So if you're interested and you are near Duboc, Louisiana, or Ruston, Louisiana, or anywhere, I think Monroe or Shreveport, I think those would be okay. If you're anywhere near those areas, we would definitely be interested. So just, maybe just for now, just put a comment below until we can do something better as far as that. Like I said, it's new. We're still getting into all that. But we are trying to make it to where it's a very good price. Like you're actually getting a really good deal with the wholesale, So it's just simpler for everyone. We're, cutting out any of the middlemen or anything like that, So then as far as some more goals, we've considered getting into some sort of rental. Since I think I was probably 18, 19 years old, I have always thought about it would be really awesome to have storage units, some sort of self-storage units or something like that. And I think that would go along with my goals as far as being able to make a large amount of my living from home. That doesn't mean that I wouldn't have to go into town or something. I don't mind going to town. I enjoy going into town. So it's not like it's going to bother me to have to step away from the farm once or twice. It's probably good for me.
And I'll go to town every day if I have a coffee budget.
Yeah, she actually really likes going into town. She just we don't necessarily want to work in town. We enjoy where we work.
We'll work the coffee budget into my pay for management.
Yeah, I'm sure that's going to end up in there somewhere or another. She really likes her lattes, and I really like my black coffee, so it works out.
No, it does not.
You know what's funny is that she is more wired on coffee with milk than I am on straight black coffee. Sometimes I don't get it. Anyway.
And no, my coffee does not have sugar in it, so it's not the sugar.
Anyway, whatever. We're off topic again. Y'all get the point. We're trying to not drag this out too far, and we're already 23 minutes in the second video. So what are some more goals that you can think of? Oh, and rental houses as well. I mean, I don't really like the idea of rental houses. I have considered some duplexes or quadruplexes or things like that. That's still in the future. We're still trying to research and decide whether or not something like that would actually fit into the goals that we have as far as some of the freedom, And so far, it's kind of looking like maybe it will. And it's not like you can just jump into it. You can't have it all at one time. We might have to get into it maybe through rental houses, even though that's not necessarily something I want to do. Might have to do that and might have to work a little bit harder and get get away from home for a short time a little bit more than we might want to. But every new avenue you get into, every new business you get into, there's always going to be that big time, that there's a certain amount of time where it's like you're putting so much time and energy in there. But that's a good thing. You need that time and energy to learn your business. So don't feel like that's a bad thing, okay? Invest that time, get in there, and then that will pay off in the long run. And then if it continues to be that way for 5-10 years, then you might ought to consider, am I happy with this? Is this within my goals, But I try to research a business pretty good bit before I ever even consider investing into it. And then that would be another thing about being able to stay home is we try to save money and turn around and invest our money. So then we're able to invest money in places that allows us the freedom of still staying at home when we want to stay at home. So, and then what are some more goals that you think you might would have? Or is that pretty much it for you?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. No, I think we kind of have the main goal, like the the main goal up here, and then both of us have, all these goals that kind of come off of it, and thoughts and ways, things, ways we can get to that. And I'm just sitting here like I want to be able to, clean my kitchen and do my laundry and not have to worry about going somewhere or
it makes me
being
feel
outside.
bad. It makes me feel bad when I think about. I'm all talking about all these goals. Like I want this and I want that.
No, I mean
And then-
he talks about, no, I mean it's important, big stuff, like, oh, how can we make money? And
I'm not obsessed with money,
how can we
guys.
make sure we eat every day?
I'm not
And I'm
obsessed
like,
with money.
I need to clean my kitchen.
Yeah.
I need to do the laundry. Or I need to go work outside. I want to plant stuff. And so I guess just after we get everything established, I mean, my goal is to enjoy what I do for a living, but then also be able to have the time to keep, plant flowers, mow the grass, do, vacuum the floor, whatever, do a little project here and there, just stuff like that. And I mean,
And see, I'm talking about all these things about investing and making money because that's kind of what our channel is about. But I'm not telling you guys about the the goal as far as the fun side or the enjoyment side. And I guess partly is because I've already achieved a lot of that for myself. For me personally, I've achieved a lot of that. There's still a lot more that I'd like to achieve. But I'm slowly moving into more and more of that. I mean, that's part of the reason for making a living at home is we really enjoy. I can go out in the morning or in the evening, and I can go do some leather work in my leather shop. Okay, and I love that. I've got a welding shop out here. I can go out here. I got a little forge I like to play with sometimes. I like metal work, so I can go out there and do some stuff with that. But then also, I like being able to go out in my yard, like she said, and just simply trim the trees, make them look nice. I always hated coming home from work and then it's like, okay, now I've got to mow the yard or now I've got to do this. But now it's like, I wake up in the morning and I'm drinking coffee, out on the front porch or something like that. And I'm like, the yard needs to be mowed. Before I start today, I'm going to go out here and I'm going to mow the yard. And I'm maybe spend an hour or two getting the yard ready, making it look nice, trimming the trees. And then maybe tonight we'll call everybody over, for a barbecue or something, So for me, that's, I really enjoy that side of it too.
because when you work a 9 to 5, or for me, what was it, like a 6:15 to a 5? I mean,
Yeah.
I never had time to, I'd get home and I would just be tired, too tired to do anything. But it's like,
Yeah.
oh, you gotta have clothes to wear the next day, or well, what's for supper? And so then if I needed to stop on the way home, go to the grocery store, go to the gym, I mean, it was, and then if it got dark at 5:30, then didn't have time to do anything. The day was over.
And for me, when I was doing it, like the going to the gym side and things like that, it wasn't a problem for me because I was still away from home. But what it did was it created a rut. Once I got home, there was so many days that I was so tired that it became to where my home, even though yes, your home should be a comfortable environment, it became to where my home was no longer about being a comfortable environment. It was about, I'm done, let me just fall on the couch and just, I'm done. It became an environment that I didn't enjoy. Like I didn't go and mess with my hobbies. I didn't go, I didn't cook. I mean, I like cooking. That's just one of the things I like to do. And I didn't cook as much. I would just make simple, throw together meals or something like that. So I didn't enjoy when I did get home because I'm just naturally an active person. If you enjoy coming home and just being on the couch or something like that, kudos to you. But for me personally, I'm an active person. And so for my home, the way I feel about my home is I don't want it to just be a place, an environment where you just want to lay on the couch, eat potato chips, and watch TV. I'm perfectly okay with doing that if that's what I want to do in the evening. But yeah, it's nice now to feel like that I don't have to do that. Like I don't just come home so dog tired, mostly from the drive home, because the drive home winds you down. You're already tired and then it winds you down. One thing that I will caution you on about working at home, this is something I went through for just a little while. I had to kind of work myself out of it, is turning your home into a work environment to where you never can relax. You do want to make sure you can relax when you're home. So you just kind of have to work with that. For me, it didn't take me too long to get out of that little slump, because I like to relax as well. As much as I'm an active person, I find that it makes me a better active person when I do take time to relax and enjoy my time off. So I just kind of had to learn how to separate that. It was a little bit of a learning curve, you might say. But other than that, I think it's better. I personally think it's a lot better. And you just kind of have to decide what kind of person you are. Some people, they don't want to work from home. And if that's not the case, you might not should be watching our channel, at least not for that. But if you do want to learn some stuff about some cows, learn some stuff about welding or being in a shop or anything like that, then you still might learn something from being on our channel. So,
Yep. And so I guess in closing, we may have gotten off topic quite a few times.
probably so,
Maybe. But yeah, if anything that we have said, I mean, if it speaks to you, or if you can relate, then please subscribe. Start watching. Might learn a few things, like John said, and might help you make decisions on what you want to do with your life. And also, if you would like to see some more videos, I guess, of us just talking like this, maybe not as long, 5-10 minute, 5 to 7 minute videos or
Yeah.
something like that. Just talking on some different things. Please let us know, and if there's any topics, questions you have, ask, and we will answer those as soon as we can.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to interact online. I mean, obviously, I don't want anybody getting on there and being rude, telling me what I should or shouldn't do, but it's perfectly fine to, constructive criticism. It's a learning experience, not just for all of you guys, but it's a learning experience for us as well. I will say that when I post a video or talk about a topic, I try to only touch on things that I feel like I really understand, or something that I have done a lot of research on and have some experience in. Now, of course, there are some things that, I do talk about that I'm learning about or I've just recently learned. But if I talk about those things, I'll be sure to express that this is something new for me. This is my experience in this area. And I've just learned it, and kind of like the microgreen thing. For both of us, we're still kind of learning that. And to me, I don't ever stop learning. I mean, I've been welding for over 10 years now. And I'm just continually learning. Somebody one time, I remember just real quick, I was welding something and then I was trying to make it look halfway decent, and they told me, for what we're doing, this doesn't matter. And the first, and what I wanted to say, of course I didn't say anything, but what I wanted to say is, I'm still practicing. This weld is practice for me. 10 years in, I'm still trying to get better. Like every single weld I do, I want it to look better, and you're not always going to be better every single time. But the point is I'm continually trying to learn new things and trying to expand on the things that I do already know. So if you watch these videos, we're trying to put out good, helpful content. We're trying to put out stuff that we actually know stuff about, and then we're also trying to show you some of the experiences and some of the experiments that we do. we try to make them at least somewhat entertaining. So if they're not, let us know nicely. Be nice now. So anyway, I think that's about it. I just kind of wanted to touch on everything, all of this. So like she said, don't forget to subscribe. I mean, if you watch more than one video, obviously I can't be that bad to listen to. If you've watched two, you owe me a subscribe. Okay, one video I understand, I get it, but two, buddy, you better go ahead and just subscribe. So there you go. No, seriously though, it does help if you will like those videos. Anything that you do like, please go ahead and like it. It does help a lot. And then subscribing, you know, if you subscribe, you can see more stuff. Plus, comment on things you'd like to, on other things you'd like to see. Sometimes, you know, we kind of forget what all we've put out there and what else we can put out there. And you know, it kind of takes a lot of work to put these videos out, you know, so appreciate that by giving us some more ideas of things that you would like to see in the future. And definitely share the videos, because just because it doesn't help you doesn't mean that it won't help somebody else. You might be experienced with cattle, or you might be experienced with microgreens, or you might be experienced with welding or anything like that. You might be experienced with all of that. That doesn't mean that everyone else is, okay? So if you watch the video, it's got to be worth something, whether you already knew it or not. Share the video. Somebody will like it. So anyway, guys, thanks. This has been our now 101 video. We split it up. So anyway, guys, we do appreciate it.